Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be another video on buying restored comics and getting a good value for your dollar. So in this case, I'm going to show you my Justice League of America #1. And this is a restored comic. In this case, it is a slight restoration. I'll show you the label. Hopefully you can see it clearly. It's a slight restoration with a C1. Now, C1 means that it's an amateur restoration. The worst is actually a D, but a C is pretty bad. So it means that it's very amateur in the way that the restoration is done. But it's a slight restoration. It's not like, it's a very minor restoration where something has been done to the comic that isn't major, like that can't be reversed. So in this case, it's something that could be reversed very easily. What has happened is the person that restored it, probably the spine was split on the comic, and they used a bit of glue to basically fix the cover so that it would stay on the comic. So they put a glue along the spine. So the restoration includes a small amount of glue on the spine of the cover. So that was the restoration in this comic. That's something you can remove. You can actually remove the glue. Generally, depending on how much glue is done, if it's the case that it's just fixing a split within the spine, then it probably is not going to affect the grade too much. But if it's the case where the cover has become detached, then this grade would probably grade at maybe a 2 because of that kind of defect. Generally, you don't want to have the cover being detached. So that would be a major grade deduction. So with all that being said, what does this restoration do to the price? And did I overpay? I'll tell you how much I paid for this. I paid $7.50. It was a bit expensive. It is a major key. It's a pretty pricey book, but even in a low grade, this is a low grade. So I'm going to show you the fair market values, and we'll discuss whether or not I overpaid. So Justice League of America, and this is the first of the self-titled series, the first appearance of Despero. So we're going to look at what is the fair market value for this comic. So it's a 3.5 CGC, and a 3.5 CGC sells for about $1,050. Okay, so I paid $7.50. Now, how much does that impact the price that it's restored? Well, I have my chart that I use. If you watch my other videos, I always use the same chart. And for a restored Silver Age comic, when it's a 3.5, we'll use the 4.0 number, which is for a slight restoration, it's 70% of the price. So this comic is worth 70% as a purple label that it would be worth as a blue label. So we take that number, 0.7, and we multiply it by this. And when we do the math, we get $735. So I overpaid on this comic by $15, which is pretty minor overpay. So yes, I overpaid, but it's a cool book and I saved a little bit of money. Not necessarily the best investment on my part. Now, here's the thing. Let's say I did that, removal of the glue, and I said, okay, I'm going to remove the glue. And what does that do to the price? So as I said, probably if I remove the glue, you're going to have a detached cover maybe at the worst case scenario. And that would actually reduce the value to $575. So in this case, it is better to leave the comic as is and not deal with that loss in value. So it's actually worth more in that higher grade, even though it's restored. Most people, a lot of people push the idea that you have to have that blue label. that you have to have like the blue label, and having a green label, or sorry, a purple label is somehow going to really kill the value of the comic. Well, in this case, actually, it's better off being a purple label. So just something to understand, that it's not always the case that you want to go back and remove the restoration and try to get that blue label, because you might actually hurt the price of the comic. So I hope this video has been interesting to you. Please check out my other videos in this series and the many other videos that I post on my channel. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.